Hello everyone, this is Persephone and I have been getting so many messages from sissies who are watching me from all over the world and they asked me to speak more explicitly about them. So today this is a video about sissies and specifically why are sissies so hated. I have observed that even before I started systematically posting on YouTube that although I have many categories of subs, I have subs who are into chastity, I have subs who are into macrophilia, I have subs who are into, SPH, CEI, I'm using acronyms because we're supposedly family friendly. The most sarcastic comments and the most hatred or degrading comments or whatever I get every time I refer to sissies or a sissy sub or something that I did that is sissy related. And I have my theories about why sissies are so hated. In my opinion, it's time all of the people who hold on to the live script to just toss it and open their fucking minds a bit. But in the meantime, it's very sad to observe so many great sissies that they just wish to live as themselves and they have to hide, they have to lead double lives, they live in shame, in secrecy, in internal confusion, and so on. I'm going to also address some questions that I get about sissies from people who are not sissies or who are interested in that or other goddesses. And everything I say in this video is my personal opinion and my experience and someone who does femdom and findom. Okay, I'm not a sissy, I don't represent the community, I have no right to do so. I'm just someone who is positive towards the community and has many friends there and many subs there. Question I get the most, are all sissies transsexuals? The answer is no. In general, when you ask something about a fetish, the answer is never, is everyone in a specific way. There are sissies who are transsexuals. There are sissies who wish to live as females 24/7, to move in with a man, to have a family, many things. There are some who enjoy this as part of sexual activity or once in a while or something that, breaks the routine. There are some who enjoy the danger of just hiding it, or they have a sissy friend and they cross-dress together, and in the rest of their lives they live as the gender, you know what I mean. For example, if someone is born a man, he can live a life as a normal man in every aspect. Not that being a sissy for me is normal in the sense of it's something that is caused by things that happened in the psychosexual stages, but I'm saying that if you are a sissy, it doesn't mean that you want to be a maid locked in chastity 24/7 scrubbing floors while your big black cock master spanks you every time you fail. Okay, not that this is not hot, but this is not what everyone wants all the time. So the answer is no, not all of them are transsexuals. There are some who are sissies and they are still attracted to women, which would make them something close to lesbians, I think. So the best way, if you are talking to someone who is a sissy, is to ask them their personal preference. The thing is, it seems that no matter what kind of sissy you are dealing with, the answer is always mockery, fear, disgust, mental illness shaming, and so on. And I want to make clear that not everyone who is cross-dressing is a sissy. There are people who enjoy cross-dressing for the sake of cross-dressing and they don't get turned on by anything of the rest of it, okay? I believe that people in general tend to be afraid and reject of whatever they don't understand. Their most common reaction to anything that is not familiar is rejection. I'm not going to say that Asperger's syndrome and being a cis is the same thing, but I experienced it on myself growing up, that every time something would deviate from the norm, people would act shocked, disgusted, and so on. Imagine being a sissy and, having to actually deal with all of that 100 times more. Another thing is that religions that I tend to dislike so much played a huge part on shaping how we see sexuality and how we see men and all of that stuff. That there is only one specific, very strict pattern in which men should be according to quote-unquote normal society, and anything else that deviates from that is ostracized, okay, or hated, which makes people feel very bad. They cope with alcohol, they cope with drugs, and it doesn't end well for anyone, because if someone is a sissy and he has to hide it, then he gets married to a woman, he starts lying to that woman, the woman finds out, pretty for me, it perpetuates abuse. If people were free to live the way they want to without actually abusing anyone or doing anything illegal like, abusing children and animals, I don't think that if a man wants to cross-dress, it's such a big deal or something to freak out over, At least I don't. Maybe I'm desensitized, I don't know. There are people who call me a freak too. But I think that the best way to understand and to help someone is by being okay with who they are at first, accepting that. Because I had someone asking me and saying, we don't support that you are pro-LGBT, we don't support that you actually are okay with gay people or with sissies and so on. I'm going to tell you something. I have met straight men who had gay sex compulsively. Men who identified as straight and yet they would be on Grindr doing hookups and so on. And I've sent those men to therapy and they were reenacting sexual abuse from male relatives. Do I think that every gay man does that? No. Those men were exceptions. But if I was homophobic and I would never have talked to them, I would never have been able to help them either. So I suggest before you start talking shit about sissies that I get so many hate comments, try to understand where they come from, try to understand how they think, and like I said, at the end of the day, cross-dressing isn't a crime. There is a pattern I've noticed in sissies, very strong female role models growing up and absent or very weak male models. I'm sure this did play a part, but again, not for everyone. I'm not a mental health professional, but I can't help but notice the pattern here that, of course, when you grow up and your upbringing happens in a very specific way, and you have a mom who is controlling or dominating and the dad is weak or he has bailed out, that may affect you. Why does that make you so degenerate or so defective as the haters want to use and against you, I mean? Is it really your fault? Is it really so bad? For me, the true crime in this society and in this world is that the people who actually harmed others, they go out there still being the normal people and still living the normal lives, and everyone who is having consequences of abuse or of a specific upbringing that was toxic or of a specific upbringing that left them deprived is the one being saved. I believe that there are sissies who are great people and there are sissies who are toxic people the same way as everybody else. I've met sissies who were entitled, who were abusive, who tried to scam me, and I've met sissies that there are people that I could see myself being friends for a lifetime. So if my channel can help to just stop the toxic stereotypes from solidifying even just a little bit, I don't think it's a bad thing that I have it, and all the brain Ebola that you're sending me is not going to stop me. I believe that if you are completely new to this and you want to explore it and you are a goddess, it's very good to make accounts on FetLife or on Color Space and at first talk to people who are sissies and get to know them, to understand who you are dealing with. Because if you have zero involvement with the community and you want to have sissy subs, it's going to be extremely challenging at first. And it's also okay to say to someone that I didn't have a sissy sub before, it's my first time, and you can explore it together. It's really funny that for me the toxic sissies exhibit many mean girls in high school traits that I was dealing with in my high school, that they ask me to have some magical solution, like to feminize them, but they don't want to buy feminization equipment like makeup, heels and so on, or they expect me to do it for free or for very little money, and then they talk shit about me. Exactly like a mean girl. So if you're a sissy and you do those things, the mean girl aspect of feminization, you have it pretty well. But a girl is more than that, so I suggest you welcome yourself to the real world with being a girl costs a lot of money. I'm just saying this for the sisters who are going to message me again and say, I want to be the ultimate girl, but I don't want to spend any money. Impossible. Okay, impossible, and give up or start saving up. So if you are someone who fantasizes about cross-dressing, who masturbates thinking of himself as female, who has tried his sister's clothes in secret and got turned on, I would say explore it. Explore it in a safe environment. If you think that your parents are going to find out and kill you, don't do it in your house. Do it at a friend's house or do it in a way that you won't be found out. If you're living with a partner and you feel that the partner is going to be even slightly okay with it, you can bring this up. If the partner is going to be shocked and they don't want to hear anything about it, or they're going to be judgmental, the real question isn't if you should be a sissy or not. The real question is if you are with someone that you can't talk about things that they are important to you or they are in your mind. That's one thing that I'm always saying to people, because someone was asking me recently, is my wife a lesbian? I would say even the fact that we are having this conversation is a huge red flag about your relationship, because why are you talking to me and you can't ask her, are you a lesbian? Are you attracted to women? Are you bisexual? If you can't ask her, that's 100% a very serious problem. And here being a lesbian is a secondary problem. For me, not really a problem, but you know how it is. If someone is exclusive and has specific aspects in his mind on how a monogamous marriage should be, and he finds out that his wife may be attracted to women, that may shock some people. So that's all for today. I'm waiting for your suggestions for future videos. By suggestions doesn't mean crazy shit that I'm going to be obliged to do the next day. I'm reminding you once more that those are videos that I filmed months ago in most cases, and I upload them when I have time. Okay, so if you have content that you wait to see featured, it will be featured. Thank you for watching.